This is the key for delivery, and the success of devolution will be measured only with the outcome for the citizen. And if there's no outcome, the support for devolution will go down. I already heard many voices saying, oh, why don't we go down, back to the old system? So if county governments are only seen as money absorption machines without getting services to the people, devolution will not last. This is what we are trying to do, enable the county governments to deliver. And not only with the project that we're doing together with the German government and implemented by the GIZ, working directly with the governments, county governments, but we also parallel have another program which is implemented among others by Transparency International and TISA, which enable hundreds of CSOs to monitor county governments and hold them to account. So far, we have trained more than 200 CSOs and several hundred journalists, and we have a radio program to sensitize citizens. And we are equipping the CSOs with digital tools to enable them to monitor county government performance. And this is not about assuming that there's wrongdoing. It's about building trust. And I was struck by many of other speakers, and even in writing it says, rebuild trust. Rebuild. What does that mean? Trust is lost. And that trust is essential. And that's why we're here. So I certainly hope that with the collective intelligence today, we will be able to harvest many ideas that we can build into this program, because after all, if we are giving ideas, it's not us who can make them a reality. It's the collection of all of those who work in the governments and also the county assemblies to make it happen and to be responsive to citizen needs. The other thing I saw is that there's much more participation of CSOs this time. And really, at the county level, we also have to make sure that young people can participate, that we have mechanisms where we can dialogue with them, listen to them, but also translate that into tangible outcomes. So I will stop here because you didn't come to listen to me, but to the discussion we have with our eminent panel. I'm looking very much forward to look at the results of today and see how we can improve the program, because we are at the beginning. And in the beginning of the new program, you can still do a lot of things and direct or redirect the course. But as I said, we want this to be a participatory process, and that's why we're all here. So Asanteni Sana, you have my full commitment to follow this process very closely. So the EU is not just putting money there, we are also supporting politically very strongly the idea of devolution. Thank you very much. Asanteni Sana.
As we begin, and I'll bring in the question to Professor Jonyo from the University of Nairobi. What word comes to mind when you think of performance management? Raise a hand. Raise a hand. There is no wrong answer. Okay, there is a right answer. What word comes to mind? Anyone? Results. Targets. Results, targets. Efficiency. Goal. Learning. Planning. Reward. Effectiveness. Competition. What? Sanctions. Sanctions. That's a good one. Sanctions. Reporting. Guidelines. Prof, are we anywhere close to understanding what performance management is? You can take the mic from the governor. Prof, from the University of Nairobi, the Department of Political Science and Public Administration. So now this is the official learned definition of performance management. What is it, performance management? Mr. Mike, this mic needs to be Mr. Mic'd. Did you press it on? Prof, you need to. Prof, so because you do politics, let me show you. Now the mic should be on.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right, let me stand in respect to your gathering. You are all right. The only thing you have not mentioned is timely. Performance has to be time-bound. May I take my seat?
No. So go further than that. What is that? What does it mean? When we, even in our topic today, we are saying restoring excellence and trust in county governments. So you have to tell us what performance management is in the context of a government, and then why do we need to restore trust?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I would borrow heavily from the concept that was sent to us by GIZ, if Teresa would permit me. The document, if you read it, it is a hugged document. There are two sides hugging each other, and the document says, I will paraphrase, that performance management is a coordinated approach, which means it is multidimensional. It has many facets. And this coordinated approach is intended to align, mark these words, very powerful, align government policies to ensure that they speak to strategic priorities, and that these priorities must operate on an operational plan, the intention of which is to use resources which are scarce effectively and efficiently so that the outcomes can be measured. So in terms of, I look at performance management as a system. County governments are not a one-person show where it is MCA, governor. No, it is a system where there are many actors. And these actors should have a synergistic relationships in which they collaborate, and their intention is one goal: timely realization of what transforms the living conditions of the people. At some point, it's very interesting, we build huge things, huge facilities named after our ancestors. But how do people access them? Today, if you go to Machakos, even people with stroke were discharged because of a strike. How can we coordinate this infrastructure to speak to human needs? As I conclude, when I was growing up, not that I'm fully grown, my interest was not to teach at a university. Teaching at the University of Nairobi is accident. My interest was to be a musician. So my voice was tested, do, re, mi, fa, and I was told, Fred, you are impossible, you cannot sing. But they called me in the evening that they have identified what I can do in music. So they told me you can be a dancer. I am a professional dancer. When music is playing, the instruments of music are synergized so that they can speak to a tune, and they support human sound to elevate emotional sentimentality of music. And when you are dancing, the sound of music controls the body behavior. There are some pieces of music that are slow. You be slow. When they move faster, you do the same. If you have a partner, you have to know the geography of the legs. so that you don't step on the legs. But in the absence of a human being, you can embrace the air in anticipation. Devolution must be music coordinated by various actors to enable citizens dance in terms of transformation. I rest my case.
Is the case well rested? Thank you, Mr. Dancer. Thank you. So let's now go to actually case study, and we have a governor here with us, Governor Dr. Wilbur Tichilo from Vihiga. We see very many at the national level, at county level. We see governors issuing performance contracts to their CECMs, the CEOs, going all the way even to director level. Right? So some have argued that these are just tick-boxing exercises. You know, it's just a way to show that there's something that's happening. Is that really performance management? And because your county is one of those that is, you know, coming here and saying and bragging, you know, we are among the few counties that have institutionalized performance management. Tell us what that is, what you've done.
Thank you for that question, and I want to thank Professor for what he has said. But I would like to say that performance management in counties was enacted in our constitution of 2010. That's where it was made mandatory under section 47, that all counties must implement performance management, and every year the governor must provide a report showing how performance management has succeeded to deliver the services to the people. This report is expected to be presented to the county assembly. So that's legal. So the law is there, making sure that we do the same. Now, I want to come to your question. Is this what is happening? First, performance management, when the devolution started, that's 2013 to 2017, there are very few, if any, counties that implemented that, because that was the formative stage of counties. So there was so much in terms of wrangling which functions should remain at the national level, which functions should come there. Performance management officially started in 2017. That is when we had a program called Devolution Support Program, which is a World Bank supported program that was formulated through Treasury, through public service, to ensure that counties build capacity in delivery of service through performance contracting, whereby the counties implement the programs that have been approved through CIDP, that is County Integrated Development Plan. So that's when the performance management was introduced, 2017. I would like to say that as much as it was introduced, there was very little capacity building in terms of having technical people, because by then, quite a number of the counties didn't have the requisite technical people. So first of all, we didn't have the people even who understand what performance management is. But here is a project that is funded and is saying that this is what you have to do. So with honest, I can say not much was done. Actually, performance management became just a ritual, a compliance process, where you just have to comply. And very few counties, when they did the final evaluation, very few counties made it to what I would say a success. Quite a number of counties actually didn't do well. Let me not use another strong word. They didn't do well. So that has been the issue. I would say that the process is on, Counties are doing it, but in essence, we do not achieve what performance management is expected to. So we have now KDSP 2, and I'm happy the PS is here, so we'll talk about it. This is now phase 2 of KDSP, which is now supposed to institutionalize performance management and ensure that performance management is ingrained in all our systems of governance. The project is about to be implemented, but there are still so many drawbacks. First, capacity building is still not yet done. So unless we have serious capacity building from the national level, where we have the Ministry for Devolution to take it as a major task to coordinate all counties and ensure that the counties do what is required, I fear that it may be the same failure like KDSP 1. So my position as a governor, yes, I do performance management, but I have a lot of challenges, quite a lot of challenges. We do it based on the CIDP, but implementing the projects becomes a problem. Sometimes there's no money to implement the projects. So you have very nicely well-designed projects, but when it comes to implementation, the money does not come. So it becomes a challenge. So that is an area I would want to say that we need for KDSP 2, we need to be real, serious, and focused, and ensure that we have a directorate within the Ministry of Devolution that ensures that this is achieved. And they should work in collaboration with the COG, so that we also have a unit within the COG that ensures that what the governors or what the counties say they are doing, they can do. And therefore, we must have a very serious monitoring and evaluation program to ensure that happens.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause, please, for the governor. First, it's anchored in law. It's been there, it's an expectation that the county executive will be reporting to the people on the progress that you're making in performance management, in ensuring service delivery. Okay? Then there are challenges that you've mentioned, and we'll be talking about those challenges and how to address those challenges, because you've made recommendations. Let's go to the county assembly, because this is where the executives should be going to report to the people at that platform called the county assembly on how they're doing with performance management. Question is, do the members of the county assemblies understand performance management, you know? And do we then see county assemblies actually having the capacity to oversight the executives when it comes to performance management? The chair of the County Assemblies Forum, he is here speaking on behalf of 46 other speakers in this country, and also speaking on behalf of how many members of the County Assembly of Kwale? Yes, 30. He is the head of the institution in charge of oversight in Kwale County, Speaker Seth. So, do the county assemblies grasp this role of oversighting executives on performance management? Do they do it?
Good evening, everyone. I am Seth Kamanza from Kwale County Assembly, and also the chair for County Assemblies Forum, which is a union of all the county assemblies that has come together to ensure that we talk with one voice. And as per the question that has been laid before me, I want to say that at most instances, many people think that the county assemblies, people are not learned, or they don't know what they're supposed to do. But I can tell you, many assemblies, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have the professionals that we actually need. The issue is, as the governor has said, you find that you pass the ADP. First you start with the CIDP, then you do the ADP, and then you do the annual budget estimates. Now, I want to give a good example like last year. The county had this beautiful program, development, what they're going to do, but when it reached January this year, halfway the year, you find that the budget are cut. We get budget cuts. So do you expect at that instance you'll achieve? No. But I want to tell this audience here that as assemblies, we have a tool. And right now, if you go to the assemblies, the various assemblies, you will know whether the county member that you voted for is performing or not performing. Because our main role, number one, is to make sure that you do an oversight over the executive. And most of the oversight is done in the committee, not in the plenary. The plenary is just a report, and then it's tabled, but most of the oversight is done in the committees. Therefore, why am I saying this? It is that you find that most donors would come to a county, they sit down with the county executive, a project is done. The assembly is not aware, it is at times not put in the budget, and then all of a sudden, you find that a project is done there, another one is done somewhere else. As an assembly, you cannot actually comprehend because you don't know where it all started. Therefore, this is a call from the assemblies that as governors get the donors and the donorship from our donors who are willing to help the assembly, the counties, involve the committees. The committees is the key. The committees have the resources that is needed. And our assemblies, by the way, you will find a lot of good reports from the assemblies. But you find at most instances, as we had indicated, it's that our mandate is only limited to a certain core. Therefore, as we are moving forward, you find sometimes, like right now we are getting to the midterm. You will hear a lot of crisis, a lot of impeachment of the CECs, a lot of impeachment probably from the governors. Not that the assemblies don't know what is actually happening in the executive, but at times we are also limited to the extent at which we can act. As I had indicated in my keynote speech, is that the assemblies, like last year, the assemblies was deducted. All the assemblies, the 47 of them, were deducted to a tune of almost 4.7 or 8 thereabout billion. Right now, if I give an example of the county assemblies, you find that 65% of our budget goes to the salary and the O&M and the operations. So what can 35? Last year, I could not personally, and many other assemblies could not even facilitate members to go, even look to a project that is within the counties. But one thing I want to say is that this devolution that we are having right now, it is one of the best things that Kenya will ever get. It is only that we need to put some fix so that we correct the problems that we are facing right now. I want to tell and challenge all of us that are here. In the whole budget of the whole country, we are given 100%. Out of the 100%, only 15% gets to the county. The 85% goes to the national government. As an audience, the 15% and the 85%, which of the two budget impacts directly to your life ever since independence?
You want an answer? They can. Which of the two? 15 or 15?
15%. So why am I saying this? It is that right now I could go to the remote village of my county and I will find a road that has been done, which was never done since independence. Therefore, right now, as counties, we just need small fix so that we correct, and I can assure you, in the next 20 years, mark my words and put this to the bank, the counties that are not going to do what is needed for them, there will be Dubais in Kenya, and there will be Afghanistan here in Kenya.
Both coexisting?
Yes. No.
Dubai and Afghanistan?
I'm saying that because right now, you know, the first term of the governors, they didn't have a lot of tools to check on them. So most of them had the leeway of putting programs and activities that would develop certain counties. For example, I want to give counties. There are counties right now, if you go, in each and every village, you'll find an ECD center. At sub-county level, you'll find a VCT center. Other counties, you would go around and find a few ECD centers.
Yeah.
So why am I saying that? As we are moving forward, devolution becomes harder because there are more tools and more, the government puts a lot of policy on checks and balances that hinders, at times, development. I go back to your question. Does the county assemblies have the adequate resource? Have I explained myself on behalf of the members?
I don't know. Has he? No.
I have
Yes. Yes. No. He hasn't. No. We'll come back to you.
It's okay. I will explain.
It's as simple as this.
Yes.
From where you sit, do county assemblies actually perform this role of oversighting
Yes.
the executives on performance management adequately?
Yes, we do.
Do they have the wherewithal to do it? Minus the money.
Yes.
Do they have everything else that they need to oversight the executives on performance management?
What I can assure you is that it has a lot of, we have the mandates, and through the committees which are watchdogs, they ensure that the performance management, because we have quarterly reports.
Right.
The quarterly reports are usually brought to the assemblies for a scrutiny by the committees which are the watchdogs. And out of that, you find that sometimes the governors or the CC members are directed to do certain activities which after 60 days or 30 or 90 days, the implementation committee takes over. And once the implementation committee takes over, it indicates, it looks. So from the assembly side, how do we check and balance? It is from the committees that we have sectorial committees. The sectorial committees in the assemblies, we call them, for example, a governor, the other side has a Ministry of Water. This other side at the assembly, we have a sectorial committee for water. So through the watchdog committees, they enhance the performance management of each and every department from the executive part. Therefore, we have the right...
You have the tools.
Yes, we have the tools. The problem is that also, wananchi don't look into the website for the county assemblies.
Okay.
Because all the reports are put there, and some actions are also done through the website. So I also urge and invite most of the members from our communities and also the membership to ensure that they check on the website from the county assembly so that they can have what and where the county is at the performance of the projects, the county and all the other activities of the county.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. A round of applause, please, for the Speaker. There will be questions. We'll have an opportunity for Q&A just to come in. So now that you've said it's the citizens who don't go to website and all, do citizens actually understand performance management? Maureen Odori is a country director at Westminster Foundation for Democracy. The role of citizens and the understanding of citizens. We've heard from the prof, the academic definition of performance management. We've heard from the county government on performance management and how they're actually implementing it at executive, how they're oversighting it. Is that the same understanding that we citizens have of performance management? Or what is it that we think of?
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to speak to that from two perspectives, the citizens, and then we have organized groups that basically represent citizens. So the Constitution of Kenya provides for citizens to participate and engage in all governance processes, including performance management. So when you look at the service delivery cycle, right from planning, budgeting, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, there are opportunities for citizens to engage. And we've seen seen counties whereby citizens have actually, or rather they have models, documented models of good citizens engagement. However, on the other hand, we can't say that it is sufficient. Reason being, there are various challenges that citizens face in trying to engage in performance management. Honorable Speaker has told us that, reports are uploaded on websites and citizens are welcome to come and actually review those reports. However, we have received information from citizens that at times this information is not in a format that they would understand. So of course there's the issue of the capacity for them to actually review these reports, understand what they mean, and therefore provide feedback to the county assembly or the county government on how best to improve service delivery. But in addition to that, there's also the platforms to engage. I look at my grandmother in Budalangi. She's an active citizen within her own village. However, she may not know where to plug into to hold her governor accountable. Yeah, so there's the whole issue of platforms to engage. There's a whole issue of information in a manner that the local citizen can actually digest. But also, in addition to that, we appreciate that civil society is doing something. At least some civil society organizations are doing something to try and break down that information, to try and create those opportunities or those platforms to engage. So my challenge to county governments, I know there are some governments that are actually in formal partnerships with civil society organizations, to see civil society organizations as collaborators in performance management and bring them to the table. So to answer your question, I think for effective citizens' participation in performance management, there needs to be inclusion. Yeah, and what that means is ensuring that county governments are able to meet citizens at that point, whether it's at CSO point or at that village level. It's very important. And the last thing I'd like to say is we appreciate that right now, or rather Kenya and many other African countries, we have a very significant population of young people. Why don't we see these young people as an avenue through which we can engage them to basically roll out innovative performance management models? I say that because young people are digital natives, Yeah, so how can we harness, digital means to have digital social accountability, whereby on the click of my phone as a young person, a USD number, I can provide feedback. So another gap I know that exists is at times citizens feel we provide feedback, we provide our views, but we don't get feedback as to whether our views were really taken into consideration. So those feedback loops are also another issue that probably we need to think together as all players in this ecosystem on how to address. Thank you.
Maureen, thank you very much. I want to have a follow-up question here.
Yes.
And I want to throw it first to the audience. I want to ask everybody, so from the counties that you have, that you come from, where you voted, or where you live, or where you work, okay? Do you know how many departments there are in those counties? How many CCMs? Raise a hand if you know how many CCMs are in your county. If you just know how many, I'm not asking whether you know them. Do you know how many there are in your county? Do you know how many COs there are in your county? Do you know each of those departments? Each CEO is heading a department. Do you know them? The departments? Right? So, as you can see, the hands are getting less and less, right? So it's about, do citizens actually understand the structure of a government that they're dealing with? Even as they say, we are checking whether we want to interact with this government, we want to engage with the government. Do the citizens know? Do we only know governor, na CCM finance, na maybe waziri fulani hivi, alafu kuna PS fulani tunajua? Do we know the actual structures of those governments? Do we take time to interact with that? A majority of our population is young. And every time, and I completely appreciate the example that we give, because we've given these examples for long. Whenever I am thinking of the Mwananchi, I'll think of the grandmother in the village. The grandmothers in the village are just about 2%. The bigger majority of our population across the country, 70% and above, are young. All right? So the ordinary mwananchi in the village is a young person, is somebody who has at least a basic education, right? So they have at least standard 8 into secondary education. So they understand, they are literate, they can read. If there are platforms to access information, they'd be able to access. If there are platforms to engage with the government, they'd be able to engage with the government and to understand when they're being explained to. So back to you, Maureen. What is it that the citizens need to do so that they can get more information? No. So they can be motivated enough to seek more information about government. We complain that the government is not giving us a lot of information. Do we really seek information?
I think as a country where we are at right now, we are really yearning for information. The past 1 year goes to show. And what that means is it took something radical that created appetite for all Kenyans, basically, to try and know what's happening in terms of governance circles. So in terms of appetite, we actually do have the appetite. And I think this is something that we as governance players should actually ride on right now to ensure that we avail that information, so that the fact that citizens are questing for that information, let's make it available to them. Let's work with the actors like civil society to build their capacity to be able to understand what that information means. And let's create platforms to sit and actually dialogue with them, get their views, and ask ourselves, what does that mean for us when we're looking at improved service delivery? Because ultimately, the citizen is the end user of the service deliverers. If the citizen is not happy, it's not working. If you're not responsive to the citizen, it's not working. Yeah.
Thank you. And the citizen is the owner of the power. All sovereign power belongs to? Okay. And everything that the government is doing is basically to serve the sovereign. Let's get some example from Germany, and the German ambassador to Kenya is here, Sebastian Groth. So when you were speaking at the main hall, you briefly gave an example, and then you ran away from it because I think you wanted to spare it so that you can come and give us the example here of how devolution works in Germany, where the federal government and the remotest part of Germany, which feels that it's not connecting to the federal, needs to connect to the federal. So how is performance management actually utilized in Germany or actioned in Germany? And what are the hits? What are the misses? What lessons have Germans learned over the years?
Thank you very much. Eric, is it okay if I remain seated? I ate too much fish, I think, for lunch.
Yeah, plus you're tall enough to be seated.
Thank you very much. Now, first of all, I think the constitutional process here in Kenya that brought along devolution was at least a little bit inspired by the German model of a decentralized power. The interesting thing in Germany is that it was a sort of imposed concept by the Allies after World War II to weaken Germany because they feared a centralized power that they felt under the Nazi regime that began the Second World War and wanted to avoid this to be repeated. That's why they said, okay, we create at this time 11 regions in the west and 5 regions in the east in order to make the system so complicated so that the Germans have enough to do with themselves and don't make another war anymore in Europe. By the end of the day, after 20, 30 years, I think we all, or historically, we can realize that this was a very big push forward for the economic and social infrastructural development of our country, and still is. Because it is not only Berlin, but it's also Frankfurt, Munich, Hamburg, Stuttgart, and a lot of other cities within the 16 Länder that we have today that perform very, very well. I think the most important thing in this concept of multi-layered governance is in a democracy you have the input legitimacy through voting. So that's why the system is credible and why the system is accepted by the people. But voting alone does not make the people happy. What the system has to produce is the output legitimacy. Public goods, local public goods, national public goods that provide services, as Maureen said, to the people in health, in education, in infrastructure, in security. And in this regard, the just want to give you one example about performance management comparison, not really indices, but comparison in Germany. Because in Germany, education is decentralized. So we have 16 comparable but a bit different systems of secondary education. Now, every 3 to 4 years, an organization called OECD that brings together the 30 most industrialized countries in the world is doing comparisons about the performance of the pupils. And it's very interesting, and these are standardized tests that are given to 9th grade students, and they are compared in their performance in German, in English, and in math. And it's very interesting to see how these different Bundesländer compete with each other. And also in the sequence of time, how some move up and some move down or keep flat. And I think even if this is not a very standardized performance management system, it exerts such a heavy pressure, at least on the lower tier of the table, that it has a lot of motivation and triggers a lot of positive energy in our system. The second point in this regard, with regard to Germany, and I alluded to it during the speech, is the financial aspect. We have regions, Bundesländer as we call them, that are very, very good performing in economic terms, like Bavaria or Hessen. And we have others that are a bit weaker due to structural reasons, or because they are more into, I don't know, industries that undergo restructuring or transformation. So we have a system of re-equilibration of conditions of living, where the rich Bundesländer have to pay into a pot and the poor Bundesländer get something out of it. But as you can imagine, this is a very, very, very difficult discussion. And especially the Bavarians say, why should we pay for the party people in Berlin? What they forgot at this moment is that it was Bavaria that received money out of this fund in the 50s, where Bavaria was a main agricultural country and the industry was in North Rhine-Westphalia and was a very rich region, and now it's the other way around. So there you see also that there is a development in time, but I think it is a very healthy instrument. My last point is a little bit focused here on Kenya, and please allow me to be frank, and the comments that I do now are all not from my own thinking, but reflect positions and observations that I received from governors. Where I think a performance management index or a comparison between the counties would help a lot. First is about staff. One governor told me that he inherited, and probably made the same experience, more than 1,000, I would say, ghost workers from his predecessor. He has to pay them every month, but he does even not know where they live, what they do, and if they appear on that, in the job or not. So I think this is not a sustainable way how to entertain an administration, even if it's a local administration. My second observation is that there is a lot of question marks behind the concept of merits-based recruitment. In a lot of counties, apparently, and I reflect only what I heard from others. I can't, it's not my opinion, but I just want to give this for discussion, that a lot of staff in the administration is hired not on merit, but on connections or on whatsoever. We have the same problem in Germany and in other capitals here and there, but I think we really have to get to a system of merits-based recruitment here. The third observation I found very interesting is that there are counties, and we talked about the homepage of some of the counties, where the homepage is still showing the governor before the elections in 22. But when it's about the actual governor himself or herself, he has a very, very, very super professional media team that is following every step cutting a super video, and in the evening the propaganda is out. So I think if some of this energy of promotion and sales of politics is put into the real output and real quality of the local service, we would go a big step forward. And the last point, and the President spoke about it in his speech, I think is the most important, that's zero tolerance for corruption. One governor told me that it's relatively normal that you pay 10,000 shilling to push your paper through the system. And I think this can't be normal. This shouldn't be normal. And whenever these cases appear, this civil servant has to face the consequences, I think. And I think it would be very, very good to develop a performance index also on the fight against corruption. I know that this is very difficult and a very big task, but I think it's worthwhile to think about it. My very last point goes to Professor, who said he's a bad musician, but a good dancer. For me, it's the other way around. I'm a very bad dancer, but a decent piano player. And my proposal would be that we team up and develop a Kenyan-German show on this. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I think we're going to pay for that. Do the piano, let him do the dancing. He'll know the geography of the dance floor, not to step on any toes. Right? Thank you very much for that, Balozi. Let's come to the PSs. PS Ahmed Ibrahim from the State Department for National Government Coordination in the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is also the Minister for Foreign Affairs. It's a long, it's a long and wordy ministry. But did you know that we actually have a policy on public, on performance management, rather. I was going on PFM. There's a framework. Do you know there's a framework in place? We are very good with those things. Coming up with frameworks, policies, documents, law. We have very good of them in place. And in fact, Bona PS, you'll take us about that framework. You'll tell us about that framework. How well is it entrenched in the national government? And is it also, does it percolate to the county governments? Does it come down to the county governments? Secondly, when it comes to at national level, and we see, especially for you people at the national executive, we see you publicly signing the performance management contracts. And the thinking of citizens is these performance management contracts are just those things to tick a box. We don't know the content of the performance of the contract that you're signing publicly. We do not know who's going to evaluate you. We don't know when you're evaluated, and so on and so forth. So it just appears like, it's one of those things that you're just doing so that, we can see that this government is working. How do we change that perception? So first, start by explaining to us what the framework has, whether it's in counties or not, and then what should we look out for?
Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank you. And I first want to start where the professor has left, that it has to be coordinated and integrated approach. Why am I saying this? It starts with the public participation we have talked about. When county government officers go out to the field during budget making, they first have to listen to the needs of the people, and then interpret those needs again in making their budget, right? Then after the budget making, we go to the level of implementation. Then we go to monitoring and evaluation of that process, then the results. Now, if I give you an example, if you have an extension agricultural officer in the field, and you don't measure his or her performance by looking at the harvest that was made in that given area, then it becomes a problem. That is why performance contract is based on the premise that what gets measured gets done. And remember, I started from needs assessment. Again, from needs assessment, I have moved to the budget making. And then after budget making, I have moved to implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and the result. Now, when this planning, budget making, implementation speak the same language, then service delivery will be well. And when service delivery is well, then the people will be satisfied. And when the people are satisfied, then there will not be trust deficit. So the kind of excellence we are trying to gain should not be incidental. It should be something planned, managed, motivated until you get the result. For example, if you just look at Arabestas, it was a planned process, well managed, they were motivated, there was increase in that motivation, and then the final result we are trying to see a lot of improvements, excellence. Secondly, this performance management thing is not a tool for policing staffs. Rather, it is a tool for unlocking their potential. Please get that clear. What we are doing is that we want to realize improvements, and we cannot realize improvements until you measure the performance, right? The thing is, we just want you to move from stage A to stage B. And in signing those contracts, it should not be seen as, again, one-day event. Just like devolution is not one-day event, then performance management is not also one-day event. Rather, it is a culture that is supposed to be inculcated in the staff so that it is part of their day-to-day administrative activities and functions. Then, it should not be also a talk show where there are those performing well, they are not rewarded. There are those who are not performing well. The sanctions are not put in place, right? If you are not rewarded or putting the sanction in place, then it becomes again a talk show. I think we need to get that loud and clear. So that aspect of improvement, that aspect of motivation, and that flow has to be there. Secondly, like I said, we should not forget that it is an integrated process right from the planning stage, budgeting, monitoring and evaluation to the results. You mentioned about the national government performance contracting. Performance management in the national government is domiciled in the State Department of National Government Coordination Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, as he has put it right. You remember the president has made commitment in this country. The commitment he has made to the people of Kenya was translated to a document we call the Better Plan. So when we are making our targets, it has to be well grounded on Vision 2030, the medium-term plan 4, and the better plans. And if you even look at other documents of this regime, and I know the Commissioner of Public Service Commission is here, and she can prove me right. I think page 62 of the UDM manifesto, it speaks to performance in terms of promotion and seniority. Now, when the president signs those, when the president has made those commitments to Kenyans, those commitments were cascaded down to the cabinet secretaries, and that is why the president is signing performance contract with the cabinet secretaries. The cabinet secretary signs performance contracts with us to make sure that those dreams are turned to reality. Then we do with the heads of the department up to the lowest level. Now, there are gaps, because we talked about issues of legislation. I think currently, the legislation I'm aware, and the county government, I think, is starting to be corrected, but in the national government, the legislation that I'm aware that speaks to performance contract related issues is Article 46 that speaks to issues of consumer rights, Article 252 that speaks to values and principles of public service. But we are still working on the performance management bill. It is yet to be completed. And once that bill is complete and realized, then this walking this talk will be more stronger, and realizing those results have to be motivated. It becomes a law. I think I'm speaking a lot, but currently for the county government, I think yes, I think is it section 47 of
47.
Yeah, section 47 of the County Government Act, probably speaking to issues of performance management. But for the national government, currently there are those articles in the Constitution, and the Performance Management Bill is underway, and God willing, we will realize soon. Now, my message to you is that in most cases, this thing is just seen as signing the documents for one day. By the way, you're not just signing documents. These are commitments you are making to Kenyans. And the targets you are putting are the aspirations of Kenyans that you, as a civil servant, is supposed to prove to. So let us not just see it as a one-day event. Let us encourage our staffs that they should not just treat this thing casually, but rather inculcated in each and every of us. Let us see that it is, growth, the improvement is growth-oriented. Let them not feel that this is a punishment tool, no. Rather, it is a tool for unlocking your potential, for improving your own self, for improving service delivery to the people. And once that is, supported, I mean that idea is inculcated to each and every of us, I have no an iota of doubt in my mind that service delivery will be a reality for Kenyans. And if service delivery will be a reality for Kenyans, your work will speak for itself. And once your work speaks for itself, then it means that you have satisfied citizens. They'll sing to your tune. Thank you.
Eric, can you allow me to make some comments on what he has done? Actually, what he has said is correct. We do not have a legal framework for performance management. And that is where the problem is. And therefore, even at the national level, you see performance management is only handled through these frameworks, or like, let's say, recently they issued performance management guidelines, which were issued in December 2024. But there is no legal condition that you must do this. And therefore, even if you go to the ministries, I'm not very sure, but I'll talk about the counties. Counties, you won't find any county that has a fully-fledged performance management directorate that coordinates performance management in the entire system. In fact, performance management at the county level is, is treated as a subsidiary, as a compliance. So, for that reason, it's very difficult to integrate this system on performance management in the entire governance system until a legal framework is availed and capacity building is done. Let me give an example. For example, every year we're supposed to have, a staff performance appraisal for each one. Take, for example, the Department of Health. Like in my county, we have a staff of 1,800. How are they going to be appraised? And yet we do not have people who have been trained in appraisal. Probably 1 or 2 people went for appraisal. And now he or she has to appraise 1,800. So that becomes a major challenge.
Encourage the governor. He has rightfully said it. I think it was 46 out of 47 counties that have developed the integrated performance management for county government for the financial year 25-26. It was only one county. I don't know whether that was Machakos, yeah. All the others have participated in that process. But again, there are those counties that have come back to us to ask for technical support. And some of these counties include not only counties, but county assemblies and counties. They include Kitui, Kakamega, Makueni, Bungoma, Uasin Gishu, Eldoret, Tana River, Kilifi, Nakuru, Kiambu, Kajiado, Samburu, Nyeri, Trans Nzoia, Kirinyaga, Tana River, Nairobi, Taita Taveta, Machakos, Vihiga, Nyandarua, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, Wajir, Laikipia. So I'll encourage you. We have experts that are trained in these performance management issues, and we can provide them technical support. Some of us seated here have been part and parcel of this performance management issue since its introduction. Since the introduction of the tool. And they have participated in, benchmarking by going to other countries that, we have benchmarked with. So they have adequate understanding, adequate knowledge. They have documented all the improvements. They are aware of all the bottlenecks. So we will encourage county governments to reach to us so that we can provide them with the technical support. And I also want to encourage those supporting, like GIZ and also the Kenya Devolution Support Program, probably to also upscale so as to see, I know there are financial difficulties, if we can reach to all counties to provide this kind of support. Thank you.
Support is important, and like Governor was saying, as you're calling out those counties, it means that they are coming to you because they recognize they have gaps, and they are seeking to fill those gaps. The State Department for Devolution has the role and mandate of coordinating and building the technical support for counties, coordinating that capacity building in counties. You're hearing all this, what's being said on a PS. What is the SDD doing, or what has it done to entrench that culture of performance management at county level, and also to coordinate with the departments like Bwana PS is there, so that the capacity then is taken to all the 47 counties?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. First of all, I would like to appreciate the Ambassador EU and the Ambassador Germany to Kenya for their support. Despite the decline of the official development aid, they are still holding our hand, and with also our national government contribution. So we really appreciate. Secondly, we have had the full spectrum of performance management, from academia, county governments, to oversight, to citizens, and also from national governments. And I just would like to say that the problem that we have is the culture, performance culture, or the environment. Does the county government provide the environment for performance management to take place? And I can echo the ambassador. I've talked about the specifics where a governor claims that he has inherited 1,000 ghost workers. So we have things that are beyond us. For example, number one, the governor has 5 years to implement his manifesto, but he can only do in the first 1 year or 2 years. In the third year, you will have competitors coming in, and he will no longer be campaigning. He will be doing his campaigns. Secondly, because you have said that, Professor, you have said that it's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of many players. We have the citizen. The role that the citizen plays to ensure that you have leaders in place that are stewardship leadership. So is the citizen enlightened then? Because if the citizen is enlightened, then you will have a stewardship leadership that will make sure that there's professionalism in the county government, there is performance in the county government, there's results that speaks to the people. And we have seen that there are other initiatives of communicating with the citizens through the local dialects. And if you see the performance of county governments, if you can rate the performance of county governments and put the other parameters side by side, for example, the illiteracy of the citizen in that county government, then it will show that counties that are more literate have better steward leaders and better results for their projects or for the outcomes of their projects. So personally, I come from a culture of performance contracting, performance management from KRA. And one time we were brought, one of the commissioners was brought from Safaricom to oversee the performance management of KRA. And what you see there, the culture that is there is the environment provides for performance management to take place. It provides. because there is a matrix of consequence, there is sanctions, there is rewards, you know, and also there is the leadership at the top requires that thing to be done. They require that money to be collected. So does this leader require that project to be done? Then only then that this governor will put the CIDP in place, you know, the ADP in place, the performance contracting guidelines in place, the performance contract itself cascaded to the every other officer down there, and then now starting to implement. In KRA, we used to sleep with our performance contracts. We sleep with it. Today, I've collected 1,000. That is, or 20,000, or 1 million, or 100, or whatever million. Does that happen? Does that environment of county government allow for that? That I have these projects, because we have counties where staff will appear in offices where there is exchequer release to pick the allowances and disappear. Do we have do you have time to work for these people? So some things are beyond the State Department and maybe everyone else. That's why through KDSP we are trying to use other methods, because now we are depending on the goodwill of the leadership. What methods are we using? Incentivizing county government. We tell them, if you meet this condition, this minimum condition, then we will give you these millions.
You unlock some funds.
You unlock some funds. So there is a reform, like now, even interfering with ghost workers, removing them, cleaning the registers, the payrolls, and then uploading it. Only because you have said that you will get 300 million after doing that. So we are left to the mercy of that now. You know, and also now M&E, maybe that's something else we can look at it. Strengthening M&E so that where the money goes, and then we know the results that comes out of that. So we, as a county government, we have done a lot. For example, we have rolled out county performance management frameworks across 47 counties. And it was done in KDSP2. It is being reviewed now in KDSP2, KDSP1, and then now in KDS2 we are reviewing. Training on performance contracting and citizen service charters done in collaboration with Performance Management Delivery Unit. Additionally, county performance management guidelines developed and county government sensitized on the same through KDSP2. And then we have piloting county-specific performance tools. These are contained in the county performance management guidelines developed and rolled out through KDSP2. Peer review forums for lessons and innovations. We have done a lot of capacity building, partner mobilization. We have now a devolution sector working group. And we have a good governance program that's coming up through mobilization of our partners. Civic education to empower citizen oversight. We have our civic education framework we have taken to the cabinet. So once it is there, we can now educate on devolution and maybe come in now even on the issue of M&E on those projects, right, the funds that we are giving to county governments. Public participation guidelines developed and rolled out through KDSP1 have been revised and been rolled out through KDSP2. Training assemblies on budgetary scrutiny, training county assemblies, clerks, the SOCAT, the Senate, community-led project management committees. Those guidelines we have rolled out in 47 county government. So the tools are there. But you need a stewardship, the caretaker leadership, right, to ensure that they are being incorporated in the system. Thank you.
You come from a pastoralist community, I'm sure, and the leader of the herd and what the leader of the herd does. They will get to their pasture because the leader of the herd is leading them to their pasture. If the leader of the herd is, distracted, that's it. The entire herd does not get to pasture. I'm going to come to some Q&A. I intend for us to close in the next 20 minutes. So a quick question, comment, answer. And I know I also have SRC in the room. I have the Public Service Commission in the room. Before we come to the chair of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the commissioner from the Public Service Commission to get their input as well, let's hear from a hand. Somebody has raised a hand here. Na nguvu sana. Stand so they see you and they bring the mic to you. Paul, is that mic working? It's not. It's a problematic mic. Problematic.
Yeah, take this one.
We can donate our mic.
It's not working.
Because clearly that one will not work.
This one? Thank you very much.
It's off. Now
It's on now.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this session. The purpose of every government is to deliver service. That is the essence of every government. A government is not primarily an employer. A government is a service delivery institution. It only employs to deliver services. The way the counties are structured currently, and I taught devolution for 1 semester at KU, you will appreciate that even the governors, if you look at the governors' manifesto and the way they have structured their government, you will say from the word go they are not intending to deliver. Because the structure of the government is not structured towards the delivery of the manifesto. It is in the interest of a governor, it is in the interest of a politician to deliver, because they are elected based on what they promised the people. So to hear somebody saying that, you know, there is no structure for performance management and therefore we don't have it. How do you plan to track what you promised? Because it is on the basis of performance management that you track what you promised the citizens. It only helps when you have a performance management structure. Then the citizens can also therefore track progress alongside what you promised them. It is a bit also strange to hear therefore that the counties want a framework for performance management from outside, yet they are elected based on the promises that they made. So I think performance management is the bare primary minimum that any governor or government should have in place.
Thank you very much.
It also therefore depends not only just about the people,
right?
It is also about the structures, and it is about how you are fit to deliver the services
to the people. What's your name, sir?
My name is Obongo Sylvester.
Sylvester, thank you very much. Another hand, Paul, you can choose. Be democratic.
Thank you. My name is Francisca Chui, Chief Officer, Performance Contracting, Disaster and Emergency Services, working with the County Government of Kitui. Thank you, our panelists, for taking us through the session. It has been quite educative for us. And mine is actually not really a question, but I would like to comment that in Kitui County, we have a directorate that deals with performance contracting, disaster and emergency services. And actually, performance contracting in Kitui County has been institutionalized in such a way that we have already signed the 4th cycle of performance contracts and cascading down using the staff performance appraisals to all the staff. Our governor is quite passionate about it, and I would like to comment that actually performance contracting, it is a system that it should be driven from the top. If the top doesn't support the system, then it can't work. I urge our leader and our governor present today to talk to his fellow governors to actually ensure that they drive it from the top, because it can't work unless it starts from the top. Thank you. May God bless you all.
Let me ask you a question, Madam CEO. You say you're in the 4th cycle of performance contracting. How do you evaluate performance?
Allow me to comment that when our governor got into the office, that was August 2003, he clearly stated that he cannot give resources to people and allow them to start yelling around the corridors and gerrymandering. That's what he said. And that year, 2002, 2003, our ministers...
2013. It can't have been.
So, okay, it started in 2013 during its first term,
yeah.
but the second regime... Sorry.
You mean 2022?
2022, it's when he got into the office, and that year, 2022, 2023, he said that all the ministers must sign performance contracts for the fourth quarter. That was starting from April to June. And we did it with assistance from the performance management unit from the national government. They have actually been assisting us all through. And because it is a process that requires maybe independent people to come and check the system, check whether we are doing the right thing, we have actually been involving them all through. During our vetting of the performance contracts, we invite the national government officers to come and help us in the system. We also invite them to come and help us during the external evaluation. And we have actually been able to move through all the steps systematically and on time, without delays. And I really want to thank the National Government Performance Management Unit for their support to us as a county. We have been able to move through, and right now our ministers signed the performance contracts for the year 2025-2026 on 15th July. We'll make sure that we don't delay the process.
Thank you.
That's how it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam CEO. Paul, two more before we... And if you have a question that you'd like to direct to any of the panelists, just say then. Your mic, that mic, I think, let's just take it. Is there a bush nearby? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity and for the wonderful presentations. Mine was just a request for a comment from any of the panelists on the role of the Auditor General's report when it comes to...
Again, that mic.
Thank you once again, and I appreciate the presentation by the panelists and for this opportunity. Mine was just to ask, what do you see as a role the Auditor General's reports have in performance management, in fact, in relation to even public financial management? How do those reports assist you in that? And maybe to the CAF, the Auditor General is mandated to make reports to the County Assembly, and I know it goes to, as you indicated earlier, to the County Public Accounts Committee. So how effectively have those reports helped you in oversight of the executive at the county level? And are there any challenges that perhaps we need to address? Thank you very much.
Your name, please?
My name is Mark Gashanja from the Office of the Auditor General. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. One more.
Do we have a lady? All right.
Yeah, at least, please balance it, because as you can see, today I've had the misfortune of moderating two panels which have 18 men and one lady. So let's have more ladies actually coming, asking questions.
Thank you. This has really been a very enriching session, sharing about performance management. My name is Philip Governor, the Chief Officer of Public Service and Administration, Vihiga County, and also championing performance contracting. The SDD, you have done a good job. The guidelines are okay. The tools, the M&E tools, you have indicated, they are very good. But just something that was also echoed by my governor, the aspect of standardization. You look at the tools, the M&E tools, the weighting, the weighted averages. I know under KDSP2, counties have been tasked to automate that process, because that is the most paper-intensive process without automation. But I think from your level, you need to guide us to some extent on capacity building on those tools. I know we have been doing capacity building, training about performance contracting, but we have not yet zeroed in, because my worry is you will get counties coming in with various versions of automated tools. We need to get some standardization at some level where you are also in charge and you can say this county is tracking well, the M&D system these guys have automated is the way we want it to be, because there's a lot of formulas. And I think that's an area that you may need to look at.
Thank you, Bwana PS. I want to ask you the question. I think you should answer the question from the Office of the Auditor General, because you're the one who's actually running the program, right, Governor? Yeah. How do you interact with the reports from the Auditor General's office in Vihiga County, for instance, when you're dealing with performance management and tracking performance? You're the chief officer,
yes,
for performance management and administration.
Now, what we have done in Vihiga is we have tried to actualize those tools and create our own version of understanding of what tool that tools should derive to, taking into account the weightings of each line of performance and the weighted averages, totaling to the overall rating. So you see, that is our perspective. That's the way we look at it, and we have to be solution focused, but we need to have some level of standardization at that level so that we are sure we are doing the right thing.
That's standardization. But the question from the Auditor General was, the reports from the Auditor General, they come to county. How do you use those for performance management and improvement, if at all? Is that the question that you had asked, Mark? Yeah. All right. So let me see if this cable will come all the way. What to your mic? Performance management mics. Let's pass on the mic.
I think the question by the Auditor General is very relevant. There are people dealing with audit-related issues in your department. You have the internal auditor, you have finance, you have a committee that deals with those audit issues. And part of the things you are pushing for includes zero-fault audit. So when you are setting targets, performance targets with your teams, you need to put those issues that the Auditor General is repeating continuously in their performance contract, so that you continue measuring. Why are you not improving this? Why are you not putting the necessary documentation in place and all that? So once they learn that you are measuring, definitely they will make improvement, right? And it should be discussed continuously to a level that now you achieve the zero-fault audit status. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, PS?
Yes, just as I answered the question on the comment on standardization of those tools, on that point on the Auditor Generals, the role of the Auditor Generals, we have, as the President said today, that we have challenges in many offices of government, because the auditors, sometimes they are sent there and then they are put in a five-star hotel by governors. And then they will take what is required by the governor. That is the conversation that the President is saying that we must have. Yes. So we have those challenges, but that is the strongest office that can deal with issues with the management of county resources. Secondly, on the standardization, we have developed and rolled out the county performance management framework, which is standard across all county governments. But we also look into the other tools, and I appreciate the World Bank team for the technical support, even for giving us those innovative ideas on how to incentivize county government to perform and to meet some reforms that are required for performance. Thank you.
Speaking of incentives, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is represented here by the chairperson, Mr. Chepkwony. Chair, I want you to take the mic before Bwana Speaker, you come in. Let's hear from the issue, because there was a whole issue. In fact, even you said it, Honorable Speaker. There was a whole issue of incentivization, incentives. How do you create a structure that has rewards and motivation? The Salaries and Remuneration Commission has to play a role in this, doesn't it, Mr. Chair?
Good afternoon, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Indeed, I wanted to start, Eric, by acknowledging the discussion on performance has been outstanding. Why I was raising my hand is I was thinking you have forgotten that there was a missing dimension to this conversation, which is the whole issue of reward. I know the focus is on incentives, but if I may, let me just step back for a second and propose that the circle of performance management will never be complete until you talk about reward. Why do I say that? You've given somebody a job, assuming ambassador, the guy has been recruited and is a very good guy, and you have given them the performance contract. If at the end of the month you don't pay them a salary, they will leave. The circle is not complete. So a very important element of performance has to be reward. You cannot complete that conversation about performance management unless the reward is there. But this evening, Eric, I want to say that it is not just reward. It has to be fair and equitable reward. If you just pay money anyhowly, you might create more chaos than solving the problem. And so that is why in SRC, we focus first of all on what we call the drivers of equitable reward. What drives a fair and equitable reward? And the first thing we do is something we call job evaluation. Job evaluation is like a weighing scale. You put jobs on this side and on this side until they balance. And then now you decide how much you pay those jobs relative to each other. But that's not enough to drive fairness and equity. You have to benchmark, and that's why I like the conversation from Sebastian about benchmarking with others. Like if it is counties, you cannot pay the salaries of Kwale County, where my chairman is coming from, different from Vihiga County, where my neighbor is the governor. They have to be equitable. So you have to benchmark. So those are two very critical drivers of fair and equitable reward, so that when a person has performed their job, in the words of Professor Sylvester, he has offered a good service to the people of Kenya, and they are paid. They feel they have gotten a just, fair, and equitable reward. That person will work and will continue to perform. But this afternoon, Eric, let me finish by now talking about incentives. SRC has said, okay, we've weighed the scale, the job evaluation, we've benchmarked, and this is the appropriate salary for this position. So if you perform your job, this is the salary you get. But we realize that is not sufficient to drive good performance, or what we call productivity. What about the people who go the extra mile? How do you recognize their productivity? You know, there are people who are not just satisfied with doing the normal job. They go the extra mile. And those are the people we are also concerned about. How do we keep them motivated and they feel they are also fairly remunerated? And that is why in 2023, SRC rolled out performance recognition framework. Now, we only pay a bonus for two types of employees: the people who score excellent and the people who score very good. If you are a good person, we don't give you an incentive because you've just done your job. That's good. We only pay you an incentive when you go the extra mile and your boss says you are very good. We pay you 80% of your salary. If you do excellent, we give you full 100%. That is the incentive we're talking about. But also, Eric, as I finish, we realize that is not sufficient. And the people in this room have articulated this inadequacy so well. Why do I say that? We realize, and this is my submission to this conversation, that we need to recalibrate what we measure. We need, Pierre said, what is measured is what will be done. But I want to add, what is measured and what is rewarded is what will be done better. Now, we found out that sometimes, I looked at one performance contract yesterday, and we found out that sometimes we put in the performance contract things that are not relevant to what my classmate, Professor Sylvester, was saying. It's not relevant to the ultimate service to the citizen of Kenya. What we should measure when appears, for me, is fundamental. And we are beginning a conversation. We'll come to you because we believe in all government approach to say, for example, what is the key measure for this government?
Yeah.
Whether county or national. We think and we propose it should be ordinary revenue. Should be one of them. It should be the ultimate service to the citizens of Kenya. When appears, I want to ask, if performance is about feedback, getting feedback from the people who have received that service, have we asked the people of Kenya that the Commissioner of Public Service Commission, Bwana Francis Major, has performed his job? Have we asked them? Where is the feedback from the ultimate consumer? I want to end there by saying, let us collaborate. From my employer, Public Service Commission, from the government, from everyone, let's collaborate and crack this thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. In fact, pass on the mic to the Commissioner, Bwana Major. Major will start, and then we can hear from Mwanamaka Mabruki. Because we talk about this performance management at the public service, this will be the final submissions as we then conclude and then come to a round one. What does HR management at county level need to do to support a change in culture? Because it's about culture. We've heard the submissions here being made. It's all about culture, and the culture that comes in. So we'll come from the Commissioner Mwanamaka, right? Mabruki.
Yeah, I'm here with my fellow commissioners.
Yes.
So I will allow them to introduce themselves.
Francis Major, Commissioner of the Public Service Commission.
Joan Machayo, Commissioner, PSC. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I also have Deputy Commission Secretary. In fact, the gentleman you asked him to speak, Sylvester Obongo, here is the Deputy Commission Secretary, right. And we have another one down there, Jackie Manani. So we are a big team. We came prepared to have a conversation.
To make submissions.
To make submissions.
Let's hear them.
Yes. So my name is Mwanamaka Mabruki, and let me start by reacting to some of the comments that came from the plenary. One, I want to assure this gathering that the County Government Act does provide for county governments to adopt national government management frameworks. So whatever we have that is working, you are at liberty to adopt and customize and work with it. So the element of there is no framework, and where do we start, and how do we measure, and how do we reward, we already have that. We also have Performance Management Regulations 2021, And in these regulations, in fact, even the role of the president is defined and what is expected to do, all the way to the one that is delivering service at the Mwananchi's level. So the frameworks are there, the tools are there, and at PSC we say we aim to transform the public service. And public service for us is both levels, because we believe that county governments are still in their formative stages, they're still nurturing their way around, and we are the big brother. So we are here to transform public service into a results-driven, ethical, and citizen-centered institution, both levels. And we already have the frameworks, and we are ready to share and allow county governments to use them. Coming to the issue of, allow me to, because we took time to make these notes.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a statement also made here regarding recruitment, and if it is not merit-based, how then will performance be? So we have to start by having a recruitment that is merit-based, that is established through a definition of the job. We have to get the requirements of the job. We have to develop indents. We have to advertise the job. We have to shortlist based on established criteria, and then recruit, and then induct. Now, I don't know whether we follow all those stages, and if we don't, that's where we start missing on performance management, because you do not induct. How then is one expected to fit into the culture of that institution? It is only through induction. And we all know culture, it's strategy for breakfast. If there is no culture of performance in our counties, it doesn't matter whether we have the CIDPs, whether we have the strategic plans, whether we have all those things that you have put in the manifesto as the leader of that county, they will not be achieved. And when they are not achieved, the citizen is the loser, because the service doesn't get delivered.
Yeah.
So as Public Service Commission, we believe that to get a culture of performance, you should first of all also, as you hire and onboard, it's not just for skills. Look at the values and look at the cultural fit. Do we do that, or do we hire on other considerations? We also have to recognize and reward, as our chair here, SRC, has said, we have to train and develop. That's another element, training and development. Somehow we believe once I've put an employee in the seat, I will get the results. It is never that obvious. Training is such a critical component. But then again, once the budgets are slashed, we have just heard, that's the first budget that is done away with. So how again are you expecting to get results and to manage performance and to deliver services? You have to prioritize training of your staff, give them the tools, and also standardizing of best practices. We have to encourage a competitive environment. I like the presentation from, is it Kitui or Makueni? I don't know.
Kitui.
Kitui, well done. Yeah, let's go and benchmark. This morning we heard about Muranga.
Yep.
And it was so refreshing. Those are the kind of things we're saying. If Muranga is performing, and we all clapped and we saw the results, what are they doing differently? Maybe we need to reflect on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner. And thank you to the SRC team, all of you, for coming. I'd like us to conclude. How long has it taken? So you want to vote? Extend this by, anybody would like us to extend it by another 10 minutes? Raise a hand. It shall be via democracy. Extend by 10 minutes, or we have an audience. No extending. I see. 5 minutes. None. Okay. I'd like us to close. And to come to this close, I'd like to call upon Tom from GIZ to come and give us a vote of thanks. I don't know whether he was taking notes, whether he's coming to summarize what we've just been saying. We can still remember what we've just been saying, Tom. Just come and say thank you.
Well, first of all, very good afternoon. My name is Tom Ansorg. I'm heading the Governance, Peace and Security Cluster at GIZ. And we're sort of behind supporting this event here in the afternoon with a new program that the EU ambassador and the German ambassador mentioned, financed by Germany and the European Union, with a specific focus on performance management. So I'm not going to summarize. I just wanted to really say thank you very much to all of you here, panelists, moderator, everyone behind the scenes, my whole team and technicians, everyone. So thank you very much. I think for me it was very stimulating. It's good to see that performance management is becoming more maybe a front loader than a back burner. And I, for myself, at least will take away that, sometimes maybe we don't need to wait for all the frameworks to be finalized, even though my own program we're helping to do so. But it's fantastic to hear innovative, ways of doing things. Just do it. Performance can be measured, and I think you've all performed very well here this afternoon. So please take it to the counties, to the communities, and to the national government, and see what we can do to drive performance forward. So it's definitely something we as the team, we will really take your points and the discussion. Very happy about your contributions in the audience, also for being very honest. We'll take that on board. We are only in month 6 or 7, I think, of the program, so we can adjust. We're also learning, and we want to, of course, see how we can best support you, Kenya, in furthering devolution and performance management. So thank you very much from GIZ, and have a good afternoon and good evening, everyone.
Thank you. All the mics are finally working at the end of the session.
Right. Thank you very much.